more than the technical innovation in Bitcoin that made it possible, it's really the social aspect of one guy realizing he can create a meme of, oh, you can actually store your NFTs from Ethereum, which had tons of usage and was very expensive to use. So what they were storing on Ethereum is actually a link to a website where with their JPEG. And like Bitcoin, very little people use it. So it's very inexpensive. So what about we just store the actual JPEGs on chain on Bitcoin? It could have been done before. It's arguably was made slightly easier with Taproot, but not that much. It was like kind of incentivized with SegWit. It was made cheaper with SegWit and marginally easier with Taproot, but it could have happened before. So it's really the social aspect of a guy creating a meme, the meme becoming popular, and you just bootstrapped a use case and economic demand for block space. Data storage could be an incentive, creating very, very perverse incentive that would be deserve most Bitcoin users. However, you can do this like with only very small amounts of data stored, like with counterparty, or at the extreme without storing any data, as was shown by ordinals. You just collectively hallucinate that some satoshis that were created in some transactions are worth more than others. There's no way to prevent that. There is no way from preventing people from hallucinating. So yeah, all this possible bad incentive created by JPEGs are not actually preventable and can be done much more efficiently without the JPEGs.
In which case, to like recontextualizing this, again, it comes down to people will look for arbitrary ways. To your point, there will hallucinations will emerge where folks try to use the Bitcoin blockchain for whether it's arbitrary data storage or other arbitrary uses that maybe were not initially anticipated by the creators, early contributors to Bitcoin.
To what extent? I'm over here. To what extent, though? So we talked about SegWit being, the real monumental move in this direction, and then Taproot to another extent. These are valid transactions. People pay fees for them, right? We kind of already rang this bell. And this is an open-ended question. Do you think that that was too fast? Do you think that we kind of just, this is the new normal and we have to deal with this? Is it an unwinding situation where mistakes were made and we should revisit some of the assumptions behind SegWit and Taproot? Because at the end of the day, they're valid transactions, and if we're worried about the tip validation and we're worried about UTXO bloat and the resources that puts on individual users that run their nodes and things like that, like these were all things that were just put out there effectively and people upgraded. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm going to turn your question into a question. Why are we talking about all this now? Taproot activated 4 years ago. Why is it suddenly relevant on a Thursday night in June?
I don't know about Taproot, but during SegWit, this was all talked about. This is why there's a 4 megabyte limit. That's why we have a limit. There's plenty of conversations where if we have spammers that are using the witness discount, like what happens? And if the chain's not being used for anything else and it's just spammers using it, well, I mean, it's within the limit. We have a 4 megabyte limit. We can't exceed over it. That's why I don't understand that. It doesn't even make any sense to me. There's a limit. We fought for this limit. That was the Blocksize war was about, was to keep a limit. We had an entire group of people that wanted to raise the limit to 32 megabytes, 8 megabytes, but we fought to have it at 1 with the weight. And sure, if there was real transactions happening, those transactions would be pricing out JPEGs. I mean, as simple as that. There's really nothing. If there was demand for on chains, then the JPEGs wouldn't be able to pay for those fees. Right now, just because, I don't think anyone that's taken 546 sats, right? That's the dust.
That's the dust limit.
546 sats. I don't think you're a positive user for the network. I don't care what you're doing with that 500. I don't care if you pay the miner fee. You are net negative. But there's nothing we could do about it. I mean, this is what Bitcoin is about. If there is a way to get a fee to the miner and it's a valid transaction, it's going to get mined. And there's nothing you or I can do about it. That's what Bitcoin was designed to do. That was the whole point of it. So, I don't know.
It's not spam by definition. It's
All right.
Well, no. It's not. Well, that's subjective spam. By definition, if you're paying for a transaction, it's not spam. That's
All
my
right.
point.
So
It's not spam.
why are we talking about this right now? SegWit was activated 8 years ago. Taproot 4 years ago. Why is it suddenly very important to be discussing this right now? Hint, hint.
Because nobody wants to use Bitcoin. Nobody is interested in
Take my
censorship
bait.
resistance.
Why are you
on-chain
here
transaction.
tonight? Come on.
Well, so I think we have a last comment from the Jedi in the back.
Because there was a guy that figured out how to make people hallucinate into another program where they could separate sats and then making one sat represent something. It was new, and then it kind of faded, it dying out, and now it's like it's gonna die out like everything else died out, and we'll forget about this in like a year. It'll be all forgotten.
But to your point, that I think the reason why we're here is the PTSD from that event.
Yes.
The PTSD from that event, and really when we're talking about the event, the PTSD from inscriptions and from ordinals and everything that came with that led to a very sensitive response to an email that I believe you had sent. Was it a month ago?
Yeah, a month and a half now, I think.
And so I guess, yeah, could you upstairs before we were talking about the conversation that led to you sending that email with a certain layer 2 developer? Could we say that? It's going to police me on the layer 2 usage right there.
Who got the email? What's going on? Give me. None of these people were upstairs for an hour and a half drinking with us. This is what I'm trying to get across to you
Actually,
guys.
I wasn't drinking.
We owe them background.
I
Come
had
on.
5 zins in just to try to keep up with every third sentence, but yeah, let's talk about the conversation in the email.